It's true, guys. The rumors are true. Now, please, grasp onto your computer chair or whatever you're doing right now, because you're not going to believe this shit. The Liver King is on steroids. I know. It sounds impossible. It sounds ridiculous, but, the guy that has fucking pylons coming out of his chest, the guy, like, I've heard of washboard abs. Let me just pull up a picture real quick. Like, look at this. I've heard of washboard abs, but this guy has fucking like spike strips coming out of his fucking chest. They're like pylons. They're preposterous. Jesus Christ. It looks like rumble strips before you hit an intersection. Fuck. Welcome everybody back to Not Rich Just Bored, episode number 52. Just after the 1 year anniversary. We're deep into December here. This one's going to be coming out late. It's going to be coming out tonight, but I've been running around like crazy, and I just haven't had a break. I've probably been on the road for about I don't know, probably 15, 16 hours the last couple of days. Just been a lot of driving for work and a lot of fucking pissing around and going to the boondocks. Like, shout out to, I don't know if anybody's familiar with it, but it's way in the middle of nowhere. It's called Buffalo Narrows. It's way, 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 way up north. No man's land. So, shout out to them. It's not the funnest place to go to. It's really boring drive. And of course, the roads are terrible because it's Canadian winter and it sucks ass and nobody likes it. Nobody really wants to drive in this weather. It's weird because I feel kind of torn because I actually like winter. I like the winter aesthetic. I like winter maps and video games. I mean, I don't really like ice physics and platformers and shit like that, but I just think it looks neat. It looks nice. It looks clean. But when it comes, and even, well, just living in the snow, it's nice to look at it. I don't mind playing with it, walking through snow. It's kind of fun. But like driving is the only thing. That's the one thing that just like winter sucks ass for driving. And it always does. And it really sucks when your method of making money, your job, requires like a lot of driving. So the winter always sucks ass, and I don't know. I get bad road rage some days. It's just really frustrating for me to be in a big truck, and then you see a guy in front of you and he's going 20 under the speed limit, and just like you can't pass him because you got this big ass truck you're driving, so it takes forever. And we live in goddamn Saskatchewan and Alberta, so it's like that's where I mostly work, is in those two areas where it's fucking hills and valleys and just bullshit like that. And so there's never a chance to pass, and it's frustrating. I hate it. But anyways, like I said in the intro, it has come out now that the Liver King, I guess some emails got leaked. I don't know what the hell happened exactly, but somehow people got a hold of these emails, and it proved that he's on steroids, which he obviously he got called out by Joe Rogan and a bunch of other like fitness influencers, and it's just pretty. Anybody who knows anything, and from me, I don't really know anything much about like bodybuilding or like stuff like that, but I know that like Joe Rogan knows a lot, and I listen to a lot of his podcast and a lot of the people that are fitness guys that he knows, and it's pretty obvious that that guy is on, like, it's just not a physique you can naturally achieve. It's like maybe like point, I think it's like 0.001% of the population that could even have a hope to reach that level. Like, I think he's just pure muscle. But it's fine. So obviously he's like 45 or something, I don't know. But apparently he was on like 14,000. Hold on, let me actually just pull it up here. I'm being at it. Sorry if you guys hear my fucking brother in the background. I told him to shut the fuck up while I'm doing the goddamn podcast, but that's one of the fucking downfalls of living with people, right? Is that you gotta fucking work around them. And this stupid asshole of a trailer that we live in only has one fucking network drop. Like, fuck, fuck. Like, what were they thinking when they made these goddamn things? Like, it's like you have this. It's long, right? And then there's network drop on kind of the living room area, which is on the front end. It's like, why wouldn't you have network drops in the goddamn? Like, I know they're cheaply made, whatever the fuck you call, they're mobiles, right? Mobile homes. But it's like, why wouldn't you have a fucking network drop in each room? Like, because that's the only reason he's in the living room on his computer and I'm in my room at the front of the trailer, is because that's where the access to the hardwired internet is. And we both do hardwired, so no Wi-Fi cards in this bitch. These are gaming PCs, motherfucker. But so that's how we have them set up. So I apologize again if you can hear him in the other room. It's just one of the things, man. Okay, so Liver King. How much steroids does he do? I just typed that in. It's like, how much steroids should I take? Oh my god. I'm not gonna search that. How much steroids does King do? I think it was like 14,000. Okay. But what was really stupid about this guy, like about Liver King, and I never really followed him. I knew of him. Like, obviously I've seen him around, and I think everybody and their mother has seen the weird clips of him on he was talking on, I think it was H3H3, his podcast, and it was like, it was really cringy to see. Like, I mean, Ethan's a fucking cringe lord these days, unfortunately. He used to be pretty cool, but he's kind of a fucking snake now. But anyways, yeah, he was basically he was asking all these stupid questions to him and making him really uncomfortable. And it was kind of funny, but it was also like borderline cringe. But yeah, of course I'm an idiot, so I didn't pull this shit up ahead of time because I just got home from work and I gotta upload this in like half an hour. Fuck. But but yeah, so he's, I don't know. I heard it was like $14,000 a month worth of steroids anyway, and it was fucking really stupid. I couldn't believe that. But the reason I wanted to bring it up was because um the reason he got famous. So let's just take it back a little bit. The reason he got famous in the first place back in the day is because obviously he's ripped. So that's cool. People are attracted to that. People are like, oh, he's ripped. That's cool. But he was selling himself on this whole thing he called the ancestral diet. And the ancestral diet was basically what a lot of people these days would call paleo or the caveman diet. But his was more than just paleo. Like, paleo is kind of a different thing. But his ancestral tenets, I'm not going to name them because I didn't buy his fucking book. But the big thing was about eating raw organs and like liver, hence the Liver King, and the heart and all that kind of stupid shit. But uh, but like it's, so a lot of people called him out because they're basically saying like he's full of shit because there's no way, because he's touting through his ancestral tenets of just eating raw organs. That's how you get that body, the body that he has, which is preposterous and crazy. The reason he has that body is because he eats raw organs and yeah, he just eats raw organs and he works out, which obviously a lot of people had a problem with because they're like, not sure about that. I think there's a little steroids or PRPs they're called involved. Is it PRP or TRP? I can't remember. This is why I need a producer. Just sit there and correct me every time I'm wrong. But either way, the reason we're talking about it now is because he got called out. The email got leaked. Hilarious. Everybody's like, well, duh. But then he made an apology. So, and the apology was really hilarious because it was so like, I don't even know how to say it. It's just so fake. And basically, what it came down to, I'm just going to kind of surmise what I got out of it anyway, or the important part was that he was basically trying to say, yes, of course I'm on steroids, but the reason he was doing this whole thing, this whole ancestral tenants and stuff, was to help with low self-esteem men. Like he was trying to, it's like he was trying to be like Jordan Peterson all of a sudden and be like, I did this for, it's really hard. I just wanted to eat liver and, raw organs and have a voice for the voiceless. I don't think that's bad at all, is it? It's a noble goal. Eat your liver. That was pretty terrible, Jordan Peterson, but love you, Jordan. But yeah, so I don't know. Liver King basically touted that he was the whole facade, the whole thing was to give like young men confidence. Fucking hell. I can't get a break on this goddamn podcast. Everybody's fucking trying to text me and call me. Like, guys, I'm not joking. I literally came off the road. Sweat. I got fucking shitty underwear on. Like, came in here, put the headset on, and fucking hit record. Like, I just. So I am sorry if this was a rough one. I don't want it to be a rough one. I'm just like. It's already Thursday. I'm supposed to be uploading today. I was supposed to do it yesterday, but then you work late and you know how it is. So it's going to probably be a shorter one today, but whatever. It is what it is. I just want to I want to keep up that consistency. Obviously, I want it to be quality, so it's, it pisses me off if it's a lower quality episode. And it, it usually is because I'm fucking tired because I've been on the road all day. But I'm just, I have to keep consistent and I just can't, you can't make excuses because the more you make excuses, the more you fall off the wagon. The more you skip a week here and there, you skip this, you fall off the wagon and you kind of lose that muscle memory of being in the swing of things. And, obviously it's a lot easier for me when I'm with somebody like a guest or a co-host. So that's why I'm trying to get more guests on too, because I'm trying to get better at doing these alone. Because obviously, Ryan doesn't do it every week. And, I could live on my own. I could do it on my own, but it's just, I find it much easier to, it's much easier for me to play off somebody else or to, talk to another person. So but again, it's a muscle and you just got to work it out sometimes. But anyway, so that's Liver King. He apologized. He said he was doing it for the disenfranchised men. I definitely don't believe him. I think he's full of shit, and I think he was just trying to scam a lot of people out of money and pretend like he got this ridiculous, preposterous fucking body through just eating raw organs. And don't get me wrong, I think organs are good for you. They're like very nutrient dense and like I know a lot of people don't like liver. I don't eat raw liver. I like cooked liver though. Like liver and onions is really good, but I do admit that it's not the best tasting meat. Like it's kind of grainy and the taste is I don't know. I think I just acquired the taste. I know I hated liver as a kid. I fucking hated it. You couldn't get that shit near me. But, as an adult I don't mind it. It's pretty good. It's again, I would take a New York strip or a top sirloin before I took a piece of liver, but I still think it's good once in a while. Liver and onions is fucking delicious. But yeah. So yeah, that's going on with Liver King. I'm sure he'll bounce back. I'm sure he's not gonna fucking go bankrupt from this. I mean, if he does, whatever. He's already made his millions. He doesn't care. So it's just another example of another fucking fake person that makes it in this world because people are dumb and follow morons. But whatever. I guess they didn't know they were being lied to, but I don't know. I think most of the people kind of knew. They just, maybe they didn't want to believe it. I don't know. But I had another thing that a friend was asking me. And they're like, hey, Cody, did you play the new Pokemon game? Because Scarlet and Violet came out recently. It's been a while now. I think they're. Fuck, I feel like I'm just stuffed up now, too. Oh, excuse me. Pokemon Scarlet. Scarlet. Release date. Release date Canada. Was it different? Holy fuck! People are saying, "Oh, that's a double pack." I was like, this game is $160. The fuck were they thinking? You've used up your fuckometer, so don't say that. What the fuck? Oh, there it is. So November 18th. That's when it was released. So yeah, it was released a while ago now. But anyways, my friends asked me, well, one of my friends, they're like, "Hey, did you try out the new Pokemon game?" And I said very bluntly, "No, no, I didn't try out the new fucking Pokemon game. Grow up, you fucking loser. Stop playing goddamn Pokemon." I'm just kidding. Calm down. I heard some people just slit their wrists there. Trigger warning. No, but seriously, I do just want to. I think I've talked about this on here before, but I'm just gonna go on a little tangent here about how I just thought it was. I think it's really funny how so Pokemon is like the number one grossing franchise in the world, literally in the world for video games. It is the number one, and so many people play it, right? But I got fucking bullied in middle school, and not so much in elementary. Most people were accepting of it, but I remember like grade 7, first day of grade 7. This is ingrained in my fucking mind. First day of middle school, I come I come to school with a Charmeleon hat on. My favorite hat. I loved wearing it. I wore it all the time. Grade 6 and whatever. First day of grade 7, I come in with that thing on. And yeah, I get viciously bullied for it. Like everybody makes fun of me. Some people slam me into the lockers. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? You guys all love this. Like last year and the year before. But it was just a middle school thing, right? You're in a different school. You're with older kids. you know, gotta blend in. But then, like, these fake bastards, when it comes out to like Pokemon Go coming out and all that stuff, the Pokemon craze kind of hit the mainstream. And also, video games were more, it was kind of the cool thing, actually, was video games. And I know we talked about that with Sword before on here, but, video games kind of became the cool thing to do. So, uh, they were. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there because I'm fucking tired. But yeah, video games became mainstream, so there's like Pokemon Go and the Pokemon craze kind of started up again. And then I had all these people that bullied me in high school, and they were all talking about how much they loved Pokemon now, and I'm like, oh really, really, you love Pokemon? Yeah, the person that fucking knocked my Charmeleon hat off my head and stomped on it and threw me into a locker. Yeah, you like Pokemon? Fuck you, you fucking dick. It's like JFK said. I think it was JFK. Oh, forgive your enemies, but never forget their name. I don't. That's totally not right. Sorry, guys. I'm really fucking tired. But what was it? What it was? Forgive your enemies, but don't forget. It was basically saying like forgive transgressions, but don't forget what they did to you. But either ways, that was a very long and roundabout, ranty way to get back to my point, which was about Pokemon. No, people can So people can play what they want. That's fine. But I have a beef with Pokemon. And the last Pokemon game I bought, now after Gold and Silver and Crystal, after that era, which was my hardest era for Pokemon, I I didn't really play Pokemon after that for a long time. There was like Pokemon Go I played, and there was uh what was it called there? On the Switch. It was Let's Go Pikachu or whatever, Let's Go Eevee. And I got the Pikachu one because it was basically a remake of the original, but with new mechanics and kind of it was cool. It was a fun little game. But other than that, I had Sword, I think, when it came out. No, sorry, not Sword Shield. X and Y. So I bought X. I literally because I wanted to check out what these new games were about. What was the big deal? What was the big attraction to these games? And I literally got to I think the second gym, and I was bored to death. And I thought it was like one of the worst experiences of my life. I'm like, this game is fucking it's boring. It's stupid. Like I really don't like this game at all. The Pokemon are unimaginative. The only ones that I like using are the old ones from gold, from gold, from red or blue, like red, blue, yellow, or gold. First and second gen. Like those were the ones that I gravitated towards. All the new ones I couldn't give a shit about. They were all fucking stupid. Like there's a ghost type that's literally just a balloon, like drift loon, I think it is. Ugh, like it actually gave me cancer, so I hated it. And so whatever. So that was, and I bought that one. I didn't finish it at all. I didn't like it. And since then, there's been like Sword and Shield. There's been that RCS game, which was apparently a fucking disaster, and it was a different thing. But then there's now there's Scarlet and Violet, and it's 2022, almost 23, like the end of 2022. They released this new Pokemon game, and it it runs like dog shit. I think people were saying 15 to 20 frames per second on the Nintendo Switch, and it looks like shit. Like the graphics aren't anything to write home about. So it's not overly complex. They've reused animations. There's no voice acting. Still, in 2022, there's no voice acting to this date in these Pokemon games. Like, it's to me that's pathetic. That's pathetic. This is the highest grossing franchise in the world. Like, just think about that for a second. This is the highest grossing franchise ever. And they have not flipped the script. They have not changed the formula since like 2000 or earlier. Like, yes. There's going to be the hardcore guys that have, played all of them, and they're going to say, well, they added this and they added that. But no, the formula is still the same. The biggest one that they kind of changed, and they might have done this on these new games, I don't know. But in that Let's Go Pikachu game, instead of battling Pokemon to gain experience, you could also just catch them. So you could catch and release them, or just keep catching them, and that would also give you experience, which I liked. It kind of flipped it a little bit. It didn't, it cut down the grind a little bit, and that's okay because I don't have infinite time anymore. I'm not a kid, so it's that flipped it up a little bit. But like other than that, it's just to me, they're very lazy, copy and pasted games. Like obviously there's different areas, different locations, I'm sure, but at the end of the day, it's the same shit, you know? You go so far into the game, you learn surf, you start to surf around. You go a little further, you learn fly, you get to fly around. And I'm sure they have new ways of traversing the environment, like waterfall and all that stuff they had. But like at the end of the day, it's just it's a scripted thing essentially. And they've got like how many Pokemon? Okay, I actually gotta look this up because this is kind of crazy. How many Pokemon are there? Are there? So Nine. How many Pokemon? This is in June. So this is in June. So this won't be counting Scarlet and Violet, but in June there was 905 Pokemon total right now. So yeah, there that's out of control. That actually sounds pretty low. So I don't know how many they've added in Scarlet and whatnot, but let's just say there's 1,000 now, maybe. I don't know if they even added anything, to be honest, because I don't give a fuck anymore. Because I'm not fucking spending money on these stupid games anymore that you don't get anything out of, and they haven't changed anything at all. It's just, I just don't understand how it's the number one grossing series in the world to this day. Like I get it. I get why it is, but it's just like, don't you guys feel betrayed after a while? Like don't they realize they're buying the same bullshit every fucking year? And I mean, this goes for Call of Duty, right? It's kind of ironic that I'm saying it, right? It goes for Call of Duty, it goes for a lot of games. But I'm not saying they're innocent either. But with Pokemon, it's really fucking bad because there's no, like Call of Duty, there's effort put in. Like, yeah, it might be very similar, but there's still voice acting. There's new engines. There's new, you know, there is some work put into that stuff. Whereas the Pokemon stuff, it looks like shit. It's not great, and it's a fucking mess. So I don't believe in supporting them, and I think people need to stop supporting Pokemon games in general until they actually do something different. It's bullshit. Like that Arceus game, I contemplated that game, but I'm like, no, I'll bet you if I look up the gameplay and look up what's going on, it's gonna look like shit. You know? And it did. It looked and played like shit. It was fucking boring. Like it just bugs me to no end. 100%. But yeah, that's all I really want to say about Pokemon. Just somebody brought it up to me. They asked me if I was gonna play the new one. Um, because I have a Switch, and I said no, no. I cannot support that fucking bullshit anymore. They need to do something to get my attention. They need to do something radically different. You know, like a VR experience or something where I will actually walk around and catch the Pokemon myself. That would get my attention. Like something cool, but like not gimmicky. It would have to be like immersive and really cool. But yeah. So another thing I was gonna say is not just Liver King. There's another person who's got insane, possibly more insane, and that's Kanye West, or Ye West as he's called now. I dead named him because I'm a bigot. But yeah, he went on Alex Jones's podcast in like a full gimp outfit or maybe just a mask. I listened to the clips of it. I didn't watch the video, but I heard people talking about him wearing a gimp mask. Uh, what is it called? Let's see. Yeah. Oh my god. They they don't even want to bring it up on Google. Google's like, no, no, take it down. Oh yeah. He's wearing, I don't know. That looks like a nylon mask over his face. I don't know. But he was like doing a voice, like a character voice, like going like, "You should not be on this podcast." And he was doing a bunch of weird shit. And I know, like, I kind of get both ends of Alex Jones. Cause like, yes, Alex Jones is a conspiracy theorist and he's made a lot of fucking mistakes. Like the Sandy Hook thing was a big one. But like I respect him a lot more from when I saw him on Joe Rogan, and Joe kind of defended him and said like he's like he's a nice guy and he's a good guy, and I think he is. I think he's just a bit crazy, and he's you know, obviously he's an alcoholic, but and he's kind of a conspiracy nut. But he had like a lot of shit that he said as conspiracy ended up being true, which was nuts. But unfortunately, the whole Sandy Hook thing ended up being you know, that was a big fucking mistake. he really screwed up there. So it kind of ruined his reputation with most people. But I don't know. I again, I don't mind. I don't really watch a show. I don't really watch any of that stuff as much, but I catch the clips because they're kind of funny. But like, I don't watch any of those. I don't watch any of those shows religiously or anything. But I think he's kind of misunderstood in a lot of ways. But obviously he fucked up and whatever. But everybody screws up. I screw up all the time, so I don't believe in writing somebody off just because of that. But Kanye though is, or Ye, sorry, pardon me. Ye is getting into that murky water though because he was on, like I said, um he was on Alex Jones's podcast, like Infowars, and he was like saying he loves Hitler and saying he liked the Nazis, and he's like, I think it's just, it was really out of control. And he had like, yeah, he has like this weird nylon mask on. He was doing characters, and it was so weird. And like Alex Jones, I've never seen Alex Jones in any kind of clip or anything like that. I've never seen him so uncomfortable before. Like there's one part where he's like I like the Nazis, and then Alex Jones is like, yeah, well, yeah, you're a fashion designer, so you like their uniforms. He's like, no, like I love the Nazis themselves. And it's like like he's like visually like you could tell his voice is like nervous laughter. It's like like he's very like, you could tell he's very fucking like off put by it a little bit. And I mean, to be fair, I'd be off put by it too. You're you're on your Infowars podcast, and you got one of the biggest fucking stars in the world, Yay, on there, and he's dressed in like a sweater, and he's got a gimp mask on, like fucking weird. But he said all this weird controversial shit, and it's kind of making headlines, and it's crazy. And a lot of people are saying it's weird seeing Infowars where like Alex is like the voice of reason, and it is funny. So, but I don't know. If you want my take on it, again, I don't have much of a take on this stuff. It's kind of news, so I thought I'd bring it up. But the thing with this whole Yay thing right now, I think what we're I think what we're experiencing is, it's just a guy having he's literally having like a nervous breakdown. He's having a mental, not a nervous one, sorry. He's having a mental breakdown. Like Ye is having a mental breakdown. He needs to go to therapy or whatever. He needs to talk to somebody. He needs to talk this out. I'm sure it has to do with his divorce from Kim and all that shit, and the just being uber famous, right? That messes with your head too. Like it's clearly like it's clearly a man going through like an episode, because he's just saying wild, crazy, out to lunch shit. And if you've ever known somebody or seen somebody who's gone through a mental episode, that is what happens. They'll say the most outrageous, weird shit out of left field that you'd never expect to come out of their mouth, but it does, just because it's a mental thing. It's crazy. I mean, I have witnessed this firsthand from people, um, in my own life, and I'm not really talking about that on here, but I've seen it firsthand. In my family, I've seen people have these breakdowns, and they literally seem like a crazy person. But you you can get help, you can get medicated, and you can be fine. You can live a functional life, as this person in my life does. It's just like, I don't know. Nobody says shit like that who's not going through something mental. But I don't know. I hope he gets help. I hope he turns his life around. I don't know, but I just think he really needs to talk to somebody because he can't be doing this shit. He's gonna get like somebody's gonna kill him, or he's gonna kill himself or something. Like God forbid, but he really does need help. So thoughts and prayers are with Ye. Please don't be a real life Nazi. That's not good, my son. But I digress. The last thing I was going to talk about this week was I went and saw a movie. I haven't seen a movie for a while, and I didn't think I was going to see this movie, but I had a friend in town, and she really wanted to see it, so we went together, and I ended up actually really liking it. And the movie in question is Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, and it's honestly it definitely had its boring parts, and I'll just full disclaimer from the get go, I am one of the people that's burnt out on Marvel. I've explained that on this podcast before. I am not like after Infinity War was over, like the Infinity Saga. I mean, I love the Spider-Man. I'll always love Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. I those two characters actually, I really love those movies. But other than that, I don't watch any of the Disney Plus shit. I don't. I don't watch any of that bullshit because it's all shovelware at this point, and it's just coming out so fast that I just really don't care. I just don't care. You know, everything had a coherent storyline, and it was all kind of leading up to, Thanos. It was all leading up to the Infinity War, and then they wrapped it up with a bow, and it just was kind of like the end for a lot of people. And I'm sure there will be some good movies here. And, Black Panther was one of them. Black Panther 2 was actually, it was, like, it definitely has boring parts, but the thing I really liked was the soundtrack was actually kicking. Like, it was really good. And, spoiler alert, obviously, just end the podcast here or go to the very end if you don't want to get spoiled for Black Panther or because I'm going to get into spoilers, I'm sure. But obviously, Chadwick Boseman passed away sadly. Um, shortly after filming Endgame and all that stuff. So he, his excuse me, in Black Panther 1, his character didn't die, but obviously because he passed away in real life, his character T'Challa, I think I'm saying that right. They killed him off with some random disease. And they didn't really say what disease it was, but it was a disease that ended up killing him. And his sister tried to save him, but she couldn't recreate the genome for the flower they needed to save him, and he passed away. So it was, the first 10 minutes of the movie is literally just like uh, a very milked um, funeral scene for T'Challa, which again, if you know the circumstances about how Chadwick sadly passed away, and it really does suck because he was an incredible actor, and I loved. Black Panther was one of those characters that I didn't know about. I never knew who the Black Panther was. I never read any of his comics. Was not familiar with that character at all. But after watching the original Black Panther, I really liked the character a lot because of how Chadwick brought him to life. So I was kind of immediately hooked, and I really liked that. So I was actually very sad when he passed away, and also like the way he passed away, and like how he had cancer that he's fighting, but he still went to work and still did all these amazing movies while fighting cancer, while he didn't tell anybody. Like that's like Norm Macdonald too. Sadly, he passed away. The comedian, same thing, right? He had cancer too, but he didn't tell anybody he was fighting it. Didn't tell anybody he was, you know, like getting cancer treatment and stuff. Like that's like, it's slightly sad, but it's also like that's a boss move because most people when they get diagnosed, what they do, they cry, they get a lot of attention on social media. I'm not saying it's a bad thing either. Like I'm not. There's not really a right way to do it, right? But for some reason, when somebody doesn't talk about their sickness openly like that, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's oddly brave, I guess, because you're not, because it's, I don't even know how to say it, because it's like you're fighting alone, you know. If you bring it out there and say yes, I'm fighting cancer, then you kind of have your fan base and everybody on your side, and it feels like you're not alone in this, and so I understand that part of it, but also I feel like it's an honorable thing that Norm and Chadwick did in their own way. Was they didn't want to put that burden on everybody. They wanted to kind of suffer in silence, as it were. And I think there's a real honor in that, and there's a real kind of honor in, like, they don't want their friends to remember them as some weak and beaten down person by cancer, or as a in the, not really in the celebrity world, but in the normal world of normal people, they don't want to be seen as a charity case or something like that, or as like a victim, I guess you could say, you know. So I don't know. There really is some sort of a strength in that, you could say, but I don't know. Either way, it's really sad. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman and Norm Macdonald. Yeah, Norm was a tough one for me. I know I'm talking Black Panther, but I feel like I didn't fully get the whole Norm thing out. I don't know if I talked about it on the podcast. I can't remember. I think I did. I know I talked about Gilbert when he passed away, but like Norm was a fucking tough one, because Norm, I always felt like Norm never got his due. He never got like he never got the honor he deserved as a comedian. Like, I feel like he was very underrated, and I feel like a lot of people didn't really know, they didn't really know who he was. I don't know. I just think that guy, more people need to know who he is, because he was hilarious. And yeah, it's fucking terrible. Terrible for the world of comedy. So I love you, Norm. And yeah. Anyways, back to Black Panther. Sorry, got a little deep there. It's true though. I love comedy and I love comedians. So it's hard on me. But yeah, so Black Panther 2, basically, yeah, it opens with that whole funeral scene, and then it's pretty heavily implied, and as people know, that his sister is kind of slightly in line to be the next Black Panther. And but they don't have that, but the guy who is Michael B. Jordan, the first one, Killmonger, I can't remember his character name, like his real name, but he was in line to be, or he wanted to be the Black Panther. He was a bad guy or whatever, but he burned all the flowers. There's a flower you have to eat to see the ancestral plane and whatnot, and they burned it all. So they have no ancestral plane flower, which is what you need apparently to become the Black Panther. So they were all that flower. So the whole fucking story for her is she's trying to recreate that flower, and she couldn't until she gets this thing from the underwater people, the bracelet, and it has remnants of the flower that they used to become blue mermaid people. And I don't know, it's, like I said, I'm not gonna get too deep into the plot, but uh I think it's definitely worth a watch. Like, it's, again, it's kind of different. They basically, it's kind of Wakanda versus, it's basically kind of like the humans, like us. If there's like like a political thing of them being more powerful than the United States, so the United States kind of wants to take over the vibranium, and then there's these mermaid people that show up, and they're led by this other guy. I can't remember his name now, but they're kind of, they want to ally with Wakanda and take over the world, but Wakanda doesn't want to take over the world. So it's kind of, there's kind of like a whole political aspect to it, and that'll probably end up playing out in future movies, I'm sure. But I don't know. All in all, I I liked the villain, the guy with the wings on his feet. I thought he was kind of a unique villain, and he had his own backstory, and he kind of the classic tragic guy, the tragic backstory that becomes a villain essentially, but he gets showed mercy, so maybe he turns good at the end. I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to see what plays out for that storyline, but either way, I would recommend people to go see it. That's really the only. Ugh, if you haven't seen it, that's really all I could say about it right now. Again, I don't want to get too deep into it. I will say one thing: it is very long. It is like 2.5 hours, 2 hours and probably 30 minutes of that is funeral scenes. Because there's another funeral in it, but I won't give away that spoiler right now. But you're gonna have to watch for yourself. But yeah, I'm sorry guys. That's really all I have for this week. I'm beat to death, and I'm just like, I just want to lay in my bed, go to sleep. I have so much, like, I have some editing to do, and then of course I have to do my real job and my non-creative job, as I call it. And yeah, it's just I got to deal with this fucking guy yelling at his game. You want a beating? Nah, he doesn't want a beating. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this week, and we're getting close to Christmas, so I'm gonna have to get more uplifted and more energetic. Hopefully, the podcast will come out on time next week because I won't be driving fucking 8 hours a day. Like I said, literally yesterday I was supposed to record. I came home and I was just like, no, no, not today. I can't. It's already like fucking 9 o'clock. I'm just laying down, watching a YouTube video, going to bed. I can't do this. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, links to social media in the description below. Check it out. Check it out. And I will see you guys next week. See ya.